In the realms of ancient history, a vibrant civilization emerged, leaving a lasting mark on the lands we now call Scotland, Ireland, Wales, Brittany, and Cornwall. Join us on a journey as we uncover the secrets of the Celts, as we trace the origins and settlements of a people whose legacy continues to resonate through time. The Celts were a collection of tribes that thrived in Europe during the Iron Age between 800 BCE and 400 CE. They possessed a unique blend of artistry, military prowess, and spiritual traditions that set them apart from other ancient civilizations. Archaeological discoveries provide invaluable insights into the origins of the Celts. From ancient burial sites to intricate artifacts, these relics paint a vivid picture of the Celts' cultural practices and their migration patterns. The Hallstatt culture, which flourished in Central Europe around 800 BCE, is often regarded as the birthplace of the Celtic civilization. Their advanced metalworking techniques and distinctive artistic style laid the foundation for the expansion of Celtic influence. As the Celtic tribes expanded, Gaul became a hub of Celtic power and culture. They encountered the powerful Roman Empire and engaged in fierce battles, shaping the destiny of the Celts. Faced with the threat of the Romans, Celtic tribes migrated to the British Isles, seeking refuge as well as new opportunities. The clashes between Celtic warriors and Roman legions altered the course of history and set the stage for the Celt settlement in Scotland, Ireland, Wales, Brittany, and Cornwall. The Celts settled in Scotland, known as Caledonia to the Romans, around the 6th century BCE. They established various tribal kingdoms such as the Picts in the north and the Gaels in the west and southwest. The Picts were a Celtic-speaking people, and the Gaels established their own distinctive kingdoms, preserving their unique cultural traditions. The Picts were known for their tradition of tattooing. They were often depicted with elaborate and intricate designs covering their bodies. The language they spoke was a now-extinct Celtic language that is not well documented, making it difficult to fully understand their culture and history. The lack of written records from the Picts themselves means that much of our knowledge about them comes from later sources. Pictish art is renowned for its unique style and symbolism. They left behind a rich legacy of stone carvings and sculptures featuring intricate patterns, animal forms, and mysterious symbols known as Pictish symbols or Pictish art. These symbols are still not fully understood today. The Picts were also skilled warriors and were known for their resistance against Roman invasions and later Anglo-Saxon and Viking incursions. They were reputed to be fierce and tenacious fighters, often fighting from chariots and employing guerrilla warfare tactics. Unlike their southern neighbors, the Picts did not build large cities or towns. Instead, they lived in small, isolated communities and fortifications such as hill forts, which served as their dwelling places and defensive structures. It's important to note that the information about the Picts is limited and often comes from biased sources or later interpretations, leading to ongoing debates and mysteries surrounding their culture and history. The Gaels spoke, Gaelic, which is a branch of the Celtic language family. Irish Gaelic is the native language of Ireland, while Scottish Gaelic is spoken in the Highlands and Islands of Scotland. The Gaelic languages have their own unique grammatical structures, pronunciation, and vocabulary, but there are many similarities between Irish and Scots Gaelic. The Gaels had a rich tradition of mythology and folklore, with tales of gods, goddesses, heroes, and supernatural beings. These stories were passed down orally through generations and eventually recorded in written form. The most famous collection of Irish mythology is in the Book of Invasions, which recants the mythical history of Ireland. Gaelic culture was organized into clans or tribes, which were extended family units. Each clan was led by a chief and had its own territory. The clans played a central role in Gaelic society, providing a sense of identity, protection, and governance. The Gaels had a rich tradition of music and poetry. They were skilled musicians and played traditional instruments like the harp, fiddle, and pipes. Poetry held a special place in Gaelic culture, with bards and poets composing and reciting intricate verses, often accompanied by music. Gaelic culture and traditions have evolved over time and continue to be celebrated and persevered by Gaelic-speaking communities and those with Gaelic heritage. Over time, the tribes of the Gaels and the Picts intermingled, forming the basis of the Scottish Gaelic culture that persists throughout many parts of Scotland to this day. The Celts' migration to Ireland gave birth to a rich tapestry of myths, legends, and a deep spiritual connection with the land. The Tuatha Dé Danann, a mythical Celtic people, and the Gaelic tribes thrived in Ireland, shaping its ancient past and forging a national identity. Ireland, known as Hibernia to the Romans, was one of the earliest areas to be settled by the Celts. The Celts arrived in Ireland around 4th century BCE, bringing with them their distinctive language and culture. They established several kingdoms and tribal territories, each with its own ruling elite and warrior society. The Celtic influence in Ireland remained strong throughout the centuries, and Gaelic, the Celtic language spoken by the Irish, developed into its own distinct branch within the Celtic language family. To this day, Irish Gaelic is spoken in several communities in Ireland. Nestled within the hills and valleys of Wales, the Celts fostered a society known for its poetic traditions, fierce warriors, and thriving bardic culture. The Welsh language, a Celtic descendant, stands as a testament to their enduring influence. Wales, known as Cambria to the Romans, was settled by the Celts around the 4th century BCE. The Celts in Wales formed numerous tribal kingdoms. These tribes were known for their fierce resistance against Roman conquest and the preservation of Celtic culture in the face of outside influences. These tribes often engaged in warfare, alliances, and trade with neighboring tribes. The Celts in Wales, like their counterparts in other Celtic regions, had a rich tradition of Druidism. Druids were the learned class of Celtic society and played important roles as religious leaders, advisors, and keepers of knowledge. They performed rituals, preserved oral traditions, and held spiritual beliefs tied to nature. Like the Gaels, Welsh Celtic culture is deeply rooted in mythology and folklore. Stories include legends of heroes, magical creatures, and divine beings, and provide insights into the beliefs and values of the Celtic peoples in Wales. Welsh Celtic culture expressed itself through distinctive art forms. The Welsh Celts had a tradition of intricate metalwork adorned with elaborate designs, spirals, and animal motifs. They also left behind stone carvings, often featuring Celtic symbols like knots, crosses, and interlacing patterns. Celtic culture in Wales also held a strong tradition of bardic poetry and music. Like the Gaels, they also had bards, skilled poets, musicians, and storytellers. They composed and performed verses celebrating heroes, nature, and important events, and played a crucial role in preserving the cultural heritage of Wales. Even beyond the British Isles, Celtic heritage flourishes. In the rugged coastlines of Brittany and Cornwall, remnants of Celtic languages, customs, and folklore are all still cherished. The spirit of the ancient Celts resonates within the hearts of these resilient communities. Brittany, located in northwestern France, was settled by the Celts known as the Britons. They migrated from Britain during the 4th and 5th century CE, seeking refuge from the expanding Anglo-Saxon kingdoms. The Britons established their own kingdoms and maintained their Celtic identity, language, and traditions in Brittany. Cornwall, located in southwestern England, was also settled by the Celts. The Cornish Celts arrived in Cornwall during the Iron Age and established their own kingdom. Like Wales, Cornwall resisted Roman conquest and maintained its Celtic culture for centuries. The Cornish language, which is closely related to Welsh and Breton, was spoken in the region up until the late 18th century. Now, you probably often hear about these other countries in relation to the Celts, but one you may not hear much about is the Isle of Man. The arrival of the Celts on the Isle of Man is believed to have occurred during the Iron Age, around the 5th to 4th century BCE. However, the exact details and timeline of their arrival are not entirely clear due to the limited historical records available. The Isle of Man is located in the Irish Sea between Great Britain and Ireland, and it likely attracted Celtic settlers due to its strategic position and favorable natural resources. The Celts, specifically a branch known as the Gaelic-speaking Celts, are believed to have migrated to the island from either Ireland or Scotland. Historical and archaeological evidence suggests that the Isle of Man had close ties with both Ireland and Scotland during the Iron Age. The early Celtic settlers on the island likely engaged in trade and cultural exchanges with their neighboring regions. These connections facilitated the movement of people, ideas, and material culture between the Isle of Man and other Celtic territories. It is important to note that the arrival of the Celts on the Isle of Man is not a well-documented event, so our understanding of it relies on archaeological findings, linguistic analysis, and indirect historical references. The exact mechanisms of their arrival, whether it was through migration, trade, or a combination of other factors, remain a topic of ongoing research and scholarly debate. The migration and settlement of the Celts in Ireland, Scotland, Wales, Brittany, Cornwall, and the Isle of Man were a gradual process influenced by a variety of historical, cultural, and geographical factors. The Celts brought their language, social structures, and artistic traditions to these regions, leaving a lasting imprint on their cultures and identities. Today, Celtic languages, folklore, and cultural practices continue to be celebrated and preserved in these areas.